and that is worship of Allah. We know Allah Azza wa Jal, our Lord, our Creator, in the Quran and Hadith. What our Allah Azza wa Jal demands of us is to worship Him. And there are various forms of worships. One is salah, then fasting. As we know, we are in the month of Ramazaan. Alhamdulillah, many of us are fulfilling this requirement, which is compulsory on us. And then for those who have the means, and to give zakat, and obviously those who can afford Hajj, these are the pillars of Islam. Then also being grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal and being steadfast and engaging in good deeds, these are all included as forms of worship. As we know, this month is the month of Ramadan, and fasting itself is commanded in the Quran by Allah Azza wa Jal. That means we must fast during the month of Ramadan. And in this, Allah Azza wa Jal demands that we must not eat and drink during the daytime. And fulfilling this worship, we show steadfastness by staying without food and drink during certain periods as prescribed. Then we know in this month many people pay zakat. This is another form of worship. That means giving a portion of our wealth to the poor and needy as prescribed by Allah Azza wa Jal. And we know there are many other forms of worship. Inshallah we'll learn more and we'll talk more about this, because as you say, pay it careful attention, because this is very essential for us to know and to reflect on our lives, to see whether we are worshipping Allah as we should worship. Obviously we cannot do full justice to this topic. It can take many days to discuss this topic, but inshallah we have Mufti Abdul Nabi Hamidi, Damat Barakatum Aliyah, with us.
Allah Azza wa Jal created us for the sole purpose of worshipping Him. Jinns and humans, but for worship.
Subhanallah.
So this ayah Karima explains very clearly that the sole purpose of our existence is to please Allah Azza wa Jal. And of course, when someone's action, any kind of action, is performed with that spirit that by doing so I will please my Lord, that is worship.
Subhanallah.
Many people might think that worship is the name of 2 or 3, 4 or 5 things. For example, salat, fasting, hajj, zakat, etc. Being in the masjid, sitting for itikaf, or reciting Quran Kareem, or reciting Durood Sharif. But in reality, the word worship has a very wide range of activities that it contains, and as I said, that anything that person does to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is worship. And those could be not hundreds but thousands of things that we do in our lives. And Allah will only be pleased with someone if person does things according to the command of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah, and obey the Rasul, our beloved Master Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when that is present in the mind, that I will be doing an act, whether it is belonging to social life, family life, domestic life, business life, or being in the masjid or at workplace or at factory, whichever environment we are, that is present in mind that I will obey Allah and His Rasul, and then according to the instructions which are given in Quran Pak and in the Sunnah of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one does his act, performs his act, then that is also ibadat. So therefore, ibadat is not something which can only be done in the masjid. Ibadat can be done in the marketplace as well. You are a shopkeeper and you do your business according to the way of Sharia. You care about halal and haram. You don't deceive anyone, you don't speak lie to anyone when selling your goods. And you control your eyes, refrain from evil-sightedness. The time of salat comes, you perform your salat with jama'at. So all these activities that you are doing, keeping in mind that I'm following the orders of Allah, I'm following the orders of His beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's why I'm doing. It shouldn't be done just as a habit. So, then all that is ibadat.
Okay, so Mufti Sahib, the point you have made, you said there's thousands of forms of worship.
Yes.
And many people have this misconception that worship is just sit in the masjid, namaz and tasbih. So now you are telling us there's so many other different forms of worship. I'm sure many people are not aware, because some people say that worship is just confined to the place of worship, and thereafter they lead their own lives, being influenced by shaitan and whatever. So you find even in the month of Ramazaan, some people, for them the only form of worship in the month of Ramazaan is to keep yourself hungry from dawn to dusk, that means from the time is prescribed, and thereafter whatever other things that you were talking about, even if they're businessmen. So can you elaborate on that as well?
Well, see, you are connected with so many people and you have so many situations in your person is conscious about it and he does not speak lie, thinking, knowing that Allah will be displeased.
Allah.
So he had a chance to speak lie, but he refrains from it, keeping in his mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be displeased. That is ibadat. Opportunities of backbiting come very often because people are roaming around and they're talking about this one and they're talking about that one and they want to share that with you. Now, at that point you make a quick decision that I would not engage myself in this because this is against the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jalla and His beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That is ibadat. Now see, these are situations that come in your life and you face different states and there you make a decision, and the decision is based not as a habit but knowing and thinking that if I engage myself in this, Allah will be displeased, His beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will be displeased, and you refrain from it. You have parents at home, you look after them, you talk nicely, kindly with them, you serve them. That is ibadat. You have your own family, your children, you raising them up. You raise them up bringing halal food in the house, halal earning, making sure that what they weigh is halal, what they eat is halal, and then bringing them up according to Islamic values. You have a wife at home and she has rights over you. You fulfill those rights thinking that this is the command of Allah and His beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Therefore, I will do the way Allah wants me to conduct and handle my affairs and my activities at home. So all that becomes ibadat. You at business, at a workplace, so many people abuse the facilities that they are given at workplace for the work, but they use it many a time for personal reasons. Picking up some amount of stationery or pen or something and then take it home, give to someone as a gift and etc. That wasn't their property. And when an agreement was made for a job, it wasn't mentioned that you are allowed to take few things from the office for personal use. So that means you're not authorized for that. Now if one keeps in mind that nobody questions, nobody asks, I have the opportunity to take pen or paper or some stationery or something of the work, take at home, but no, I can't take. Because in this way, Allah Azza wa Jal and His beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they'll be displeased. I'm being dishonest. So that act becomes ibadat.
Okay, there's another common practice for people that work, which maybe they don't even think of, like using the company phone. Many people have company phones in the office and it's mentioned strictly for business. So many people use that for private calls. So even that you will say it's going against what is
yes, that would be a sin. So when you knowingly, deliberately refrain from a sin, that is ibadat.
Okay. There's another point you mentioned which is very, very important, like how we behave with our parents, how we behave with our families, our wives and children. Often you get people complaining, family members, that this person, even sometimes he may be a muballigh, very nice outside, very friendly, very humble, very kind outside when he's meeting people. And people will think there's no one like him, he's got such good manners. But you hear when he goes home, he becomes a tyrant. That means outwardly, worship, as you mentioned, worship means that every moment we have to be aware of the ever presence of Almighty Allah, and every action that we do we have to weigh to make sure, because we have a constant enemy with us, shaitan and our nafs. So obviously it doesn't like us to worship Allah in the way that you are describing. That means every action to be aware of the ever presence of Almighty Allah.
Yeah, see, you will find some people, unfortunately, that they live a double life. In the house there is somebody else, outside there are somebody else. And people like praises, and they want everyone that sees them outside in the outer world must have good opinion. Present their personality in a very nice way, but because they're at home and they can't get it, it's not going to make any much difference to them, so they behave differently. So this is actually a sickness, a spiritual sickness actually, and one must ponder upon it and focus and improve. It would be very bad for someone that outside he tells people that be kind with your family, be loving with your family, don't hurt them, don't insult them. But when he is at home, he does exactly the same what he is We might get away in this dunya with this kind of behavior and conduct and be praised by people outside.
Okay, how different, especially those who are sincerely connected with Amir al-Sunnat, like Mufti Farooq, rahmatullah alayh. See, now when we say rahmatullah alayh, we mention his conduct at home. They say he was such that his family used to fight after he used to eat his meal for tabarruk. Like we only do that if a great buzrug or a wali or someone come in our home, then we respect. We say, now this person, whatever is left over, we go and treat it with respect and take it. It's tabarruk. But here, imagine his family members used to wait for him to finish eat and they eat. So it shows, because of his sohbat, his contact, his nisbat, sincerely with Amir al-Sunnat, how it transformed him.
Yes, no, definitely. The sohbat, the company of pious people, will make a great impact in your personality and will reform you.
Alhamdulillah.
And this is the experience of pious people. As it is said, yak zamana sohbate ba awliya behtar az sad sala beriya. That one moment in the sohbat of awliya, in the company of awliya. Awliya means the pious believers. Alladhina amanu wa kanu yattaqun. That's the qualification of a wali of Allah in Quran Kareem. Those who are believers and they are muttaqi, they fear Allah. And the one who fears Allah, he will care about halal and haram, jaiz and najaiz, lawful and unlawful, because he knows that if I do unlawful, I can be punished, and my options are the lawful things. That's the reason that the pious people will always think deeply and search deeply. Is it allowed for me? Even if something is doubtful, they refrain from it. Now, if that is the life of someone, and person is firm on that, and you sit in his company, means sinner, an evil person. So the sohbat, the company of salih, the pious person, will make you pious, and the company of evil person will make you evil. You quoted Hazrat Mufti Farooq Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayh, Mufti Dawat Islami. He got that company of Salih, of a pious person, and he changed. He became a person that his own family, children, wife, everyone, as you said, would want to eat or drink his leftover food or drink. The reason is that they all felt that he's muttaqi, he's salih, he's pious, and whatever he touches there is barakah in it, there is blessing. So let us take some blessing as well. And this happened because his life was not a double life. If he was good outside, he was good at home.
Alhamdulillah.
He was kind outside, he was kind at home. If he was loving outside, he was loving at home. So everyone loved him in his own home and outside as well, in his work environment, where he worked in Darul Ifta or as a member of, Rukn Shura. Whatever he did, people loved him because he was muttaqi, he was pious, he was upright. He did not have, zigzag lifestyle. And for the same reason, alhamdulillah, millions of believers, they love Amir Ahl Sunnah.
Alhamdulillah.
And for the same reason, millions of Ashkan Rasul, they love Allah Hazrat.
Subhanallah.
Because of piety, because of taqwa, because of fearing Allah Azza wa Jal, because of love of beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Salihin and Awliya Ikram, and what he taught, he practiced. So indeed, when you are in the suhbat, in the company of pious people, then you are encouraged to worship Allah Azza wa Jal.
Alhamdulillah.
Because this carefulness in every matter is also worship, because person sees what is the rule of Sharia, what is the law of Sharia, what Allah and His Rasul say in this matter. And they keep on searching, keep on learning, and keep on practicing.
Okay, now talking of the point that you made, that your life can be molded by the company that you keep. There's a beautiful Madani Bahar in one of the Risalas of Dawat Islami. It's mentioned there was a person who used to drink alcohol regularly. And one day he was on his way with some of his friends to meet other friends to drink alcohol. And it was the month of Rabi al-Awwal. And he passed one of the masjids that fortunately was run by Dawat Islami, and it was decorated. And as you know, for Milad al-Nabi, most of the masjids are decorated, and this was beautifully decorated. So as he was going past, he saw the masjid decorated. He said, "It's Rabi al-Awwal." He told his friend, "We're going to drink, and this is a month where our beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born." He said, no, let's go to the masjid. And fortunately, it was Ijtima day. So he went into the masjid, and obviously what attracted him was the decoration of the masjid. Now this is for us something to think of, what an important part that played. If it wasn't decorated, he would have just walked, because he said every day he should go past it, which should be not decorated. And suddenly he see the decoration, it reminded him. He went into the masjid, and obviously when he went, this is also karam of Allah Azza wa Jal, then he was so inspired by what he heard and what he saw, that he himself, inshallah, joining Dawat Islam, he made tawbah of his bad act and gave up this.
See, you mentioned about decorating a masjid for the Milad celebration. This is another form of worship.
Subhanallah.
Because, decorating a masjid with the correct fund, which is actually raised for that purpose. Of course, there should not be any violation of the laws of Sharia. And it is an act which is regarded mustahab. Mustahab means recommended, something good. Even though it's not farz, not wajib, not sunnat-e muakkada, etc. but mustahab, recommended. And when an act which is recommended is done with the good intention, it is ibadat. It becomes ibadat.
Subhanallah.
So we're talking about ibadat. So even these kind of things, and there are a lot of things which are mere mustahab, not more than that. But if those things are done with good intention means if there's an intention that I'm celebrating the special day of beloved of Allah, and because he is beloved of Allah, Allah will be pleased with me. So it's a good intention. My beloved Master sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be pleased with me because I remember him, and I'm rejoicing because of his arrival into this world. And he knows, our actions, and our actions are presented in his court, and it will make him happy. It's a good intention. I will have opportunity to learn about the life, the seerah of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam through Milad celebration.
Subhanallah.
So I will educate people. People will gather and they will listen to the bayan, the nasiha, the wa'az regarding the fadail, the virtues of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his status, etc., which is required in Sharia, that every Muslim should know more and more about Allah and his beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, must know more about his sunnah, his way, his lifestyle, etc., etc.
So there's one verse that of the Quran I want to comment on. This is in Surah Furqan, verse 77, translation from Kanzul Iman. Allah Azza wa Jal says, "Say, O dear Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, you have no value before my Lord if you do not worship him." That means telling the people, right? You have no value before my Lord if you do not worship him. So you have denied, therefore the punishment that remains will occur. That means for those people who don't worship Allah.
See, you have no value. It's very simple to understand. Everything that is there, that is created, has a purpose. And that purpose adds value. And when it does not fulfill that purpose, then it loses its worth, loses its value. It's no more valuable. Now, your car is made to take you around wherever you want to go, so you can drive it around. The engine gave up. Many other mechanical problems. It works, once in a month. The other 29 days, it doesn't even start. And you tried many times, but this is now the way of that particular vehicle. Then what would happen eventually? That you can't even sell and get the right price, because it lost its worth, its value. Eventually, that car would be put in the scrap yard. Now, the people owning scrap yard will not, touch with a magic stick and just make it, right, brand new again. They will break that car into pieces, into different parts. Now people come to buy parts, so they sell those parts with very mean price, miserable, cheap price. So everything became unworthy. The car itself, the body itself, the parts itself, it lost its value. It's very, easy to understand. What's the purpose of our creation? Nasiha, lectures, warnings, everything is told to him. But he doesn't change, he doesn't perform. So where he belongs to, like that car.
Allah.
He does not belong to the right places, because value is not there anymore, the worth is not there anymore. And the scrapyard in this case is the fire of hell.
Allah.
And na'uzu billah, if a person, because of his negligence, qualifies to go into the hellfire, then that's a very difficult situation. Nobody can bear the adhab of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. So yes, you're right that if a person does not worship, he loses his worth, he loses his value. I mean, he could be highly respected in business environment, or he could be very rich and got a lot of money, and some elderly people give him respect, some non-believers will give him respect, or some Muslims might also give him respect because of his riches, because of his wealth. But in the sight of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal, and according to our beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and in the environment of pious people and people of knowledge, that person has got no respect. And the real respect is, the real worth and value is when you are valuable in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. You are valuable and worthy in the court of our beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You are valuable and worthy in the court of awliya ikram, pious people. Then you are someone, you are something. Otherwise, all these worldly achievements will take you nowhere. What's the purpose of having the most beautiful, comfortable, biggest house and palace and mansion, that when you go in the grave, there is no comfort for you, there is no ease for you, there is no air condition for you, there is no servants for you, there is no authority, you failure. So that is actually not being worthy, not being valuable. Valuable is actually you have honor and respect in the dunya because of your taqwa, because of your piety, not money, because of your good akhlaq, good conduct, good character. And then when you close your eyes and you're in the qabr becomes the garden from the gardens of paradise. That's the value.
That's why in this verse Allah says that you have no value before my Lord if you do not worship Him. Alhamdulillah. What's up? The other thing in the Quran, over and over we hear some verses start saying that everything in the dunya worships Allah. Even the stones, the trees, the flowers. And we, the human being the best creation of Allah, we should be, I'm not talking just Muslims, human beings, being the best creation, we should be worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal the most. Because Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal has given us intelligence to realize that we cannot survive even for a fraction of a second without the help of Allah. That every cell in our body is functioning to the help of Allah. That means everything around us, if you look at the vegetables, the cows, whatever Allah Ta'ala has created to be subservient to man. So if we use our brains and with the guidance of Almighty Allah, all should turn to Allah Azza wa Jal and His beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because that is what our Creator wants. But one thing that is shocking, that despite humans having brains, some are very intelligent, some are geniuses and scientists, professors, doctors with lots of brains, but still they are far away from Almighty Allah.
I think it's important to make a distinction between brain and aql.
Okay.
Brain people can have, and the brain can be a cause of attaining all the degrees that you're talking about, scientists and engineers and whatever, doctors and...
MashaAllah.
But aql is that light that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which leads you to the right path.
Subhanallah.
Not every person who have a lot of degrees and highly qualified from the high learning worldly institutions can find the way to reach his proper goals. And that's the reason that aql was not sufficient to find the biggest secret of this existence, this universe, that is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have His recognition. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows our weakness, that aql is not enough. So He sent the books. And then in order to explain those books, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent prophets, alayhi salam. Now, the process of guidance completes with, first of all, the kalam of Allah, and then somebody must be knowing that kalam of Allah very well and can give 100% correct interpretations. And then the Nabi comes, and Nabi explains the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the intellect comes and plays its role, takes guidance from the Nabi, and then comes on the right path. So when people do not come to the Nabi of Allah and try to find the way forward to the right way only with their brain, as you said, then aql is not there, the light is not there, the intelligence is not there, the brain is there, the brain is not enough. So they may have every degree that you can name it, but they will still do things that would shock you. That person could be a doctor, that person could be a scientist, engineer, as you said. So there is no shortage of brain, because he attained all these qualifications and degrees and passed all these tests. So he's bright some way, somehow. But that light, that nur is not there.
Okay, alhamdulillah, viewers of Madani channel, as we said at the outset, that this is a very, very, very vast topic, and we covered some points, and alhamdulillah we got some very valuable, thought-provoking facts from Mufti Abdul Nabi Hamidi, aliyah. And as we said, this topic of worship cannot be just discussed in a short while. But we are hopeful that whatever you have heard, that you will digest and ponder upon it and make it useful, so that it can change your life and make us understand that how valuable it is to worship Allah. So may Allah will give us tawfiq to understand the message and act upon it. صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله عليه وسلم.